This is Guns, Knives, and Watches, and you know, everyone, of course, has a computer. You're watching this video on a computer of some type, either a phone, tower, desktop, mainframe, server, whatever. And every product has a life expectancy or has a life usefulness. Well, I was going to make you a video on how to save your data if you get the extortion program that the Russians basically created and used to sell. And it used to only be in Russian. But now the messages are in English. Of course, that hit my server. And what did I learn through all this? The only way to really combat that extortion is through backing up your files. And you have to back up regularly. In an ideal world, you could back up to an SSD. This is an older SSD. It's a 840 Pro. Now they have the 850 Evos, which are pretty reasonable. These used to only be a couple $100, not so long ago, and now they're skyrocket high. You can put them actually in a case, and they make these cases specifically for solid state drives. This is not one of them. This will take anything from a 7mm all the way up to a 9, I think. One thing you want to do is make sure that this thing will not rattle in here. So I take a little piece of foam off of a sleeping mat, because this is the lower end, and just close her up in there. Can't move. This is from Intertech. They're only about 12 bucks. It's a USB 3.0, so it's pretty fast speed. But anyway, is it ideal? No, but it really works. So if you have USB 3.0, this is not a bad option. And you can put any laptop drive in there. I just happen to have that solid state drive because my laptop died. But this is a desktop, and this is the desktop that was attacked. And because of its location, it was using an older operating system, Vista even, and it had very little memory, and it was a very slow system. Let me tell you why it was slow. This has an Asus motherboard in it, and of course my brother is really big on upgrading computer with as much memory as you possibly can, and this only has 2 gigabytes of memory per stick. Let me try to get the light off there. 2 gigabytes. So we've got 4 gigs total on this system. That is really at the low end of the spectrum. Back in the day, a lot of computers would only come with two, and then you'd add 2 more, and you'd get to the 4. Nowadays, you really need 8 or 12. My bare minimum, if you're buying a lot of Apple computers nowadays, especially their laptops, you cannot upgrade yourself. So I would buy them with the most memory you could possibly. That gives you the ability to use that down the road, and you won't grow out of it relatively quickly. Now if you look right in through here, if you see that dust build up on all of this heat sink, that is basically going to kill, and it causes something called fractal bridging on the processor. And I don't know exactly what processor's in this thing. I could take it apart and we could sit there and figure it out. But in all reality, is it worth upgrading? No. That memory, this, there, or the other, this one's basically at the end of its useful cycle, and maybe the cabinet, maybe some of the parts in it would be good, but because it uses an old operating system, because it doesn't have the memory, because that processor is probably specific or not as fast, okay? It dates this unit back to be pretty old, okay? It's been a while since Vista has actually been on the market for sale. Windows doesn't even, or Microsoft doesn't even support it anymore. I'm looking at some of the other telltale things of exactly, you know. But be careful. If you ever take yours apart, you see all that dust in there, you're going to want to get a vacuum cleaner and start vacuuming it out. That can cause static. That can also fry components of this motherboard, fry anything, da 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 da. So you have to be very, very careful. My advice is keep your computer in a high location. Do not put your tower on the floor around the dust. Do not, you know, I would keep it as high as I possibly could. Lower shelves collect more dust than higher shelves. Higher shelves usually don't get cleaned as often, but still, that's just the way it is. The only time I've ever seen a lot of dust on the highest shelf is when someone had a ceiling fan on reverse. And they kept it that way year round. So it was always circulating that air around the room, so all the dust was basically being blown onto the upper shelf. But, you know, keep your computers in as sterile a condition as you possibly can, because heat kills a processor. Heat kills a computer. So, basically, this computer is basically going to become, you know, something. I have no earthly idea what yet, but we'll do something with it. I wish I could tell you that backing up is not the only way to deal with that computer virus, but for the average person, or even a technical user, that in reality is really the only way, because you have no ability to break their encryption. Encryption is a very complicated thing. It is done on arcs, and anyone who deals with arcs in math, you know, that's basically how encryption works. And I'm not going to get into it because I'm just really not, because I'll start really talking for a long time. But backup, that's your only defense. This has really become a problem since the middle of 2014. I know that my system was targeted for specific reasons, and that was just because of the amount of information and the amount of and the amount of traffic that it actually handles. But my server's fine, as I said. My rack's up and running, everything's good, I just got to get this, I have to get this station replaced, and unfortunately my laptop died. So the computer that I was configuring for this specific location, I had to use. So now I've got to get another one. 2 computers in a week. Awesome. In the middle of a snowstorm. Awesome. The last computer was supposed to have been, supposed to have taken 2 days to get here. It took a week and a half. Well, I'm going to go get the next one today, so I'm not going to have it delivered. Anyway, this is Guns, Knives, and Watches, and have a good one. Damn, I was really wanting to make a video about how to really save your stuff. Really, it's come down to upgrade your gear if it can't be, if it's like this, and back up. Peace out.